Good morning, students. I am Dr. Manish Puntambekar from Department of Management, the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. Today's topic we shall going to cover is the financial statement, under which we shall going to learn provisions of Companies Act to prepare statement of profit and loss and balance sheet. So my dear students, proceeding to our session with some basic meanings to enhance our basic comprehension of the financial statement. Final accounts of company consist of two important financial statements, that is first balance sheet and second statement of profit and loss. As per section 129 of Companies Act 2013, the financial statement shall give a true and fair view of the statement of affairs of the company. They shall comply with the accounting standard notified under section 133 and shall be in the form of prescribed in Schedule 3 of the Companies Act. At every annual general meeting of a company, the board of directors of the company will have to lay before such meeting financial statement for the financial year. It is always prepared at the end of financial year, that is 31st March every year. Companies Act 2013 and final accounts. Companies Act 2013 has given prescribed format of balance sheet and statement of profit and loss in the Schedule 3. Some important features are as follows. This schedule is applicable for all companies from the financial year 2014-15. Second, horizontal format of balance sheet has been deleted. Only vertical format as given in the revised schedule part 1 is to be used onwards. From the statement of profit and loss has been prescribed in part 2, which was not prescribed in original schedule 6. Fourth, the contents of schedule 3 are as under: first, general instructions; second, form of balance sheet; third, form of statement of profit and loss. Now students, we will try to understand first format of balance sheet. As far as this balance sheet is concerned, here it is always prepared under this part 1 balance sheet. So first of all, at the top of this format we should note the name of the company, then balance sheet, whatever the date, generally it is always prepared at 31st March every year. In this balance sheet, the first column is for particulars, then note number. We will give time to time here all the notes so that we can explain all the heads which have already been shown in the balance sheet. The third part is figures at the end of current reporting period, and last, that is fourth column, is figures at the end of the previous reporting period. So we first take into consideration here the liabilities. So in this, the first is equity and liabilities, under which the first is shareholders fund. Under the shareholders funds, we will just take into consideration the first kind, it is share capital. In the share capital, the number and amount of shares authorized we generally show, the number of shares issued, subscribed and fully paid, and subscribed but not paid, and par value per share, etc. All these things are generally considered under this share capital. B, reserve and surplus. Under this reserve and surplus, there are so many types of reserves are there, like capital reserve, capital redemption reserve, securities premium reserve, debenture redemption reserve. So all these are the kinds or examples we can say of reserves. As far as surplus is concerned, that is only the net profit. Surplus, balance in statement of profit and loss, disclosing allocation and appropriations such as dividend, bonus shares and transfer to reserve, etc. And last, that is sixth point of this reserve and surplus, that is debit balance of statement of profit and loss shall be shown as a negative figure under the head of surplus. After this reserve and surplus, the next is money received against share warrants. Generally, whenever we receive some money in advance, like calls in advance and all, these are generally shown under this head. Under this equity and liabilities, the first part was shareholders fund. Now, the second part is share application money pending allotment. It means at the time of application of shares, when we receive application money, sometimes we may receive the amount of allotment money in advance. So, this is shown under this head. After share application money pending allotment, now we come to third point, that is non-current liabilities. Long-term borrowings include first bonds and debentures, term loans from banks and other parties, deferred payment liabilities, deposits, loans and advances from the related parties and other loans and advances, after which other long-term liabilities will be taken into consideration. Under this other long-term liabilities, trade payables and other short-term liabilities are generally included. Now, long-term provisions are included here. The amount shall be classified as provision for employees' benefits and other provisions. After this, we will take into consideration short-term borrowings. Short-term borrowings shall be classified as loans payable on demand from bank and other parties, loans and advances from related parties, deposits and other loans and advances. Under other current liabilities, the amount shall be classified as current maturities of long-term debts, current maturities of finance lease obligations, interest accrued but not due on borrowings, interest accrued and due on borrowings, income received in advance, unpaid dividends, application money received for allotment of securities and due for refund and interest accrued thereon, unpaid mature deposits and interest accrued thereon, and finally other liabilities. After other current liabilities, we come to short-term provisions. The amount shall be classified as provision for employees' benefits and others. Now, after liabilities, we come to the asset part. Under assets, the first is non-current assets, under which fixed assets are generally included. In this fixed assets, we generally include the most important asset, that is tangible assets. Under tangible assets, land, buildings, plant and equipments, furniture and fixtures, vehicles, office equipments and other tangible assets are included. After tangible assets, now the next is intangible assets, under which goodwill, brands, trademarks, computer softwares, mining rights, copyrights, license and other intangible assets are generally included. After this, non-current investments we generally take into consideration. In this non-current investments, we will include the following: investment property, second is investment in equity instruments, investments in preference shares, investments in government or trust securities, investments in debentures or bonds, investments in mutual funds, investments in partnership firms and other non-current investments. Now, we move to long-term loans and advances. Long-term loans and advances shall be classified as capital advances, security deposits, loans and advances to related parties, other loans and advances. The above shall also be separately subclassified as secured, that is considered good, then unsecured, that is considered good also, and third is doubtful. Other non-current assets. Under this other non-current assets, the following assets will be included. First, long-term trade receivables and others. After non-current assets, now we will move to current assets. Under current assets, first, current investments are generally taken into consideration. Under current investments, investments in equity instruments, investment in preference shares, investments in government or trust securities, investments in debentures or bonds, investments in mutual funds, investments in partnership firms, and other investments are generally included. After current investments, now we will move on inventories. Under inventories, we will include following heads. The first is raw materials, inventory of work in progress, finished goods, stock in trade, stores and spares, loose tools, and others. Now, trade receivables. Under trade receivables, we shall include secured, that is considered good, unsecured, that is also considered good, and doubtful. Now, cash and cash equivalents. Cash and cash equivalents shall be classified as balances with banks, checks, drafts on hand, cash in hand, and others. Then short term loans and advances we shall consider. Short term loans and advances shall be classified as loans and advances to related parties and others. After short term loans and advances, next is other current assets. This is an all inclusive heading which incorporates current assets that do not fit into any other assets categories. And finally, contingent liabilities are taken into consideration. Under contingent liabilities, we will take into account the following. First is claims against the company not acknowledged as debts, then guarantees and other money for which the company is contingently liable. After understanding balance sheet, now we will understand here profit and loss statement. Under this profit and loss statement, there are 4 columns in this profit and loss statement, in which first is particulars column, then note number, third is figures at the end of current reporting period, and finally fourth point, or we can say fourth column, is figures at the end of previous reporting period. As far as particulars are concerned in this profit and loss statement, the first is revenue from operations. Under this revenue from operations, we will include only operating incomes of the company, that is recurring income of the company. And after this revenue from operations, that is mainly sale of goods and services, and other than this revenue operation, the second will be other incomes. That other incomes will include all other incomes except sale of goods and services. It makes total revenue, that is the total of first and second, these two items. After this total revenue, we will move on the fourth point, that is expenses. Under expenses, cost of material consumed, purchase of stock in trade, changes in inventories of finished goods, work in progress and stock in trade, employees benefit expenses, finance cost, depreciation and amortization expenses, other expenses. So, these are all expenses which are called recurring expenses of the business, and only in this profit and loss statement we must always take into consideration only recurring expenses and recurring incomes. It makes total expenses. Now, point number 5, profit before exceptional and extraordinary items and tax, that is third minus fourth. Third means that is total revenue and fourth means total expenses. So, after deducting total expenses from total revenue, we will find their total profit for the year. Then 6th point will be exceptional items. From profit, we will deduct some exceptional items. After deducting exceptional items, we will get profit before extraordinary items and tax. After this, extraordinary items will be deducted, then we will get the profit before tax. After this extraordinary items, profit before tax will come. Then there will be profit for the period from continuing operations. Then after this, profit from discontinuing operations. After this, tax expenses of discontinuing operations, and next is profit or loss from discontinuing operations we will calculate after tax, and finally profit for the period we will calculate. Now students, I am just going to explain you one question, so please try to understand. Here in this question, the trial balance of this ABC Limited has already been given on 31st March 2014, under which opening inventory is 1 lakh. Now under this opening inventory is actually raw materials worth rupees 1 lakh, finished goods 2,50,000, purchase of raw materials 25 lakhs, carriage inwards rupees 10,000. So all these are under opening inventories. Then share capital is given worth rupees 60 lakhs, buildings, machinery, goodwill, trademarks, building under construction, patents under development, interest on bank loan, gross sales, excise duty, debentures that is secured, general reserve, bank loan unsecured, bank overdraft, trade payables. Then security deposit with suppliers, trade receivables, outstanding expenses, investments under which current and non-current both the investments are given, cash at bank, wages and salaries, establishment expenses, receipts from discontinuing business, expenses on discontinuing business, unclaimed dividend, prepaid expenses, abnormal losses due to fire. So all these are balances which have already been given under this trial balance, and the total is 1,32,80,000 rupees. After this trial balance, we will just consider some adjustments also. The first is inventories on 31st March 2014, that is of raw materials rupees 2 lakhs, finished goods rupees 3 lakhs. Second, provide depreciation at the rate of 10% on building and 15% on machinery. Third, the authorized capital of the company consists of 1 lakh equity shares of 100 rupees each, of which 60,000 shares are issued and fully paid. Next point is make a provision of rupees 2 lakhs for taxes, and the last, that is dividend of rupees 50,000 is proposed on share capital. Now students, we will just try to solve this question and we will understand how to solve this question. Here at the top, ABC Limited balance sheet as at 31st March 2014, which we will mention at the top, under which the first is liability side. In this liability side, the first equity and liabilities under shareholders funds. Under this shareholders fund, the first and most important head is share capital. Share capital is given worth rupees 60 lakhs over here, but ultimately the description of this share capital is shown under this notes to accounts, in which the first authorized capital, already in the question it is given 1 lakh equity shares of 100 rupees each, that is worth rupees 10 lakhs, out of which issued and paid up capital. So only 60,000 equity shares have been issued so far at the rate of 100 rupees each, fully paid up. So we can say 60 lakh rupees, this is our total paid up share capital. Second, reserve and surplus amount has been shown 18,75,000, and the description of this reserve and surplus, under which general reserve are rupees 2 lakhs, profit for the current year, which we have already calculated 17,25,000 rupees from the help of profit and loss statement. Now we will deduct here 50,000 rupees worth of proposed dividend. As all of you know that proposed dividend has already been given in adjustments, therefore it will find at least two places, the first in the balance sheet and the second is in the statement of profit and loss. Here from the current year's profit worth rupees 17,25,000 rupees, we will deduct here proposed dividend worth rupees 50,000, which will reduce our profits proportionately to 16,75,000 rupees. So, ultimately 18,75,000, this is the total of reserve and surplus. Now, after this reserve and surplus, next head is non-current liabilities, under which the first is long-term borrowings. Under this long-term borrowings, debentures have been given there, secured debentures worth rupees 5 lakhs. After this, other long-term liabilities. Other long-term liabilities include bank loan, that is unsecured bank loan worth rupees 2 lakhs, and in current liabilities, the first is short-term borrowings. Under short-term borrowings, bank overdraft is given worth rupees 1 lakh, then trade payables rupees 1,50,000. Under other current liabilities, we will see outstanding expenses are given worth rupees 20,000, unclaimed dividend rupees 10,000, it makes total 30,000. After this, other current liabilities, next is short-term provisions. Under short-term provisions, provision for tax, which has already been given in the trial balance worth rupees 2 lakhs, and after that proposed dividend has been included over here worth rupees 50,000. All of you know that proposed dividend has been given in the adjustment, therefore, already we have deducted this proposed dividend from the current year's net profit, and now this proposed dividend will also be shown here in the short term provisions. So, it makes total 2,50,000. Now, all our assets will be started. Under this assets, the first is non-current assets, in which fixed assets are generally included. In fixed assets, the first is tangible assets worth rupees 57 lakhs. Under this tangible assets, here buildings and machinery are given worth rupees 35 lakhs and rupees 30 lakhs respectively. After deducting depreciation worth rupees 3,50,000 and 4,50,000, we will calculate their written down value worth rupees 31,50,000 and 25,50,000. It comes total 57 lakhs. After non-current assets, we will calculate here non-current investments. Non-current investments are already given in the question worth rupees 3 lakhs. Then under long-term loans and advances, here security deposit with supplier has already been given in the question worth rupees 2 lakhs. So, we will put this amount over here. After current investments, now we will take into considerations here inventories. Inventories, the total of inventories is rupees 5 lakhs. The description of inventories include first raw materials rupees 2 lakhs and finished goods rupees 3 lakhs. It makes total 5 lakhs rupees. After inventories, next is trade receivables. It is already given rupees 3,40,000. Then cash and cash equivalents 3,50,000, and finally short term loans and advances 15,000 rupees has already been given in the question. Now we start from expenses. Under expenses, cost of material consumed is rupees 24,10,000. Purchase of stock in trade, nothing is given there. And finally, we have deducted here changes in inventories of finished goods, work in progress and stock in trade worth rupees 50,000. Actually, this is the difference of opening stock of finished goods and closing stock of finished goods worth rupees 2,50,000 and rupees 3 lakhs respectively. Now, employees benefit expenses. Under this, wages and salaries rupees 5 lakhs, then finance cost, interest on bank loan, it is 20,000, depreciation and amortization expenses rupees 8 lakhs. So, this 8 lakhs has already been given in working notes. Depreciation and amortization, under which depreciation has been charged at the rate of 10% on building worth rupees 3,50,000 and depreciation on machinery at 15% charged on, that is machinery, worth rupees 4,50,000. So, it comes total 8 lakh rupees. Now, other expenses, under which establishment expenses worth rupees 20,000 have been included here. So, it comes total 37 lakhs. This is the total of all expenses. If we deduct all these expenses worth rupees 37 lakhs from total revenue, we will find their profit before exceptional and extraordinary items and tax worth rupees 21 lakh 50,000. This is our total profit before extraordinary items. After this 21 lakh 50,000 calculation of this 21 lakh 50,000, now we will deduct here some exceptional items. Loss from fire is already given in trial balance worth rupees 2 lakh 75,000, which is not recurring expense of the business. Therefore, it has been put in this exceptional items. So, it is worth rupees 2 lakh 75,000, which will be deducted from the total profit, and finally, our total profit for the year is rupees 18 lakhs 75,000. Profit before tax already we calculated here 18 lakh 75,000 rupees. After this 18 lakh 75,000 rupees calculation, now tax expenses. Under tax expenses, current tax provision for tax, that is rupees 2 lakh has already been given in adjustments, which will be subtracted from total profit before tax, and total profit now is left only 16 lakh 75,000. This is after tax profit. Now we will add here profit from discontinuing operations, that is rupees 50,000. After adding this 50,000 rupees, our total profit comes 17 lakhs 25,000. This is the total profit for the year. Now, after calculation of this net profit, now the part of this net profit should be distributed as a dividend to shareholders. So, for this purpose, we will calculate the dividend rate. So, for this purpose, this 17 lakh 25,000 will be divided by number of shares issued, that is 60,000 shares. So, it comes 28 rupees 75 paisa. This 28.75, this is each and every shareholder will get dividend. So, my dear students, today we understood how to prepare company's financial statements according to the provisions of the Companies Act. You might have enjoyed the session. Meet you soon in the next video. Goodbye. God bless you all.